The restaurant with many orders. There were two young gentlemen, all dressed as British soldiers, with shiny rifles on their shoulders, walking through the mountains with the two polar bear-looking dogs. Anyhow, these mountains are boring. There are no birds or beasts. It could be anything. I just want to shoot with a rifle. It would be very exciting to see 2-3 shots on the side of the deer, and then the deer would spin around and fall down. The two young men went deeper into the mountains. Before they knew it, the guide hunter who came along had gotten lost and parted ways. The mountains were so deep that both polar bear-looking dogs became dizzy and collapsed and died. It's a heavy loss for me, one said, examining his dead dog's eyelids. For me too, the other said, looking down at his dog. The first gentleman turned pale and looked at the other gentleman and said, I'm thinking I'm going back. Yeah, it's getting cold and I'm hungry, so I think I'll go back too.
Well, let's wrap it up now. On the way back, we can buy some wild birds at the inn we stayed at yesterday. They also sold rabbits. It's the same thing whether we get it by hunting or by buying it at the inn.
Well, in the end, it's the same thing, so let's just go home. However, the problem was that they had no idea which way to get back. The wind started to blow. The grass was noisy. The leaves were bulky and the trees were rumbling. Oh, we're in trouble. I want to eat something.
Me too. I don't want to walk anymore.
I don't want to walk anymore too.
Oh, we're in trouble.
I really want to eat something.
I want to grub.
Then suddenly, they looked behind, and there was a fine Western-style house. At the entrance, there was a sign out that said, Restaurant Wildcat House. It's an ideal timing. Let's go in. Well, it's strange that there is a restaurant here. But we can eat something. Why not? The signboard said restaurant. Let's go in. I'm so hungry that I'm about to collapse. They stood at the entrance. The entrance was made of white settle bricks and was really nice. And on the front door, it was written in gold letters. Anyone is welcome. Please do not hesitate. They were so pleased to see it. Thank goodness. We had a hard time today. But now there are good things happening. How about it? It's a restaurant, and it's a free treat. Well, it seems like it. That's what it means to don't hesitate. They pushed the door open and went inside. Behind the glass door, it said, Fat and young people are especially welcome, written in gold letters. Wow, we are extremely welcomed because we are fat and young. Ha! They were much more pleased. As they walked down the hallway, they found a water-painted door. What a weird house. Why are there so many doors? Well, this is a Russian style. Everyone in the cold mountain cottages are just like this. When he tried to open the door, there were yellow letters written on top of it. This is a restaurant that has many orders, so please be aware of that. It must be a popular place on a mountain like this. That's right. Look! Even the restaurants in Tokyo wouldn't be located on the main street. Then they opened the door. Suddenly, on the back side of the door said, "There are many orders, so please be patient." Huh? What does that mean? Asked the tall young man. I'm sure they mean that there are many menus and cooking takes time, so please be aware. Well, I want to hurry up and get into a room somewhere and have a meal. But again, another door was waiting for them. There was a mirror on the wall next to it, and a long-handled brush underneath it. And then, in red letters on the door said, "Customers, please trim your hair and remove mud from your shoes." It's natural for customers to be neat and tidy. Good manners must be needed at this restaurant. Upper-class people must be in there. They scraped their hair nicely and removed the mud from their shoes. As soon as they put down the brush, it faded away and disappeared, and a strong wind blew in from somewhere. The two were surprised and hurried and opened the door and went into the next room. They thought that if they didn't eat something warm and get energized, they would be in trouble. Again, there was something strange written inside the door. "Put guns and bullet here." There was a black stand next to the door. Ah, I see. It's impolite to eat with a gun. Well, a great man must be there. The two removed the gun, unskinned it, and placed it on the table. Again, there was a black door. "Please take off your hat, coat, and shoes." What do you think? Should we take it off? Well, there's no choice. Let's take it off. This is a restaurant visited by very great people. They took off their hats, coats, and shoes, opened the door, and entered the next room. Behind the door, it said, "Tie clips, cufflinks, eyeglasses, wallets, and other hardware, especially sharp items, should be placed here." Right next to it was a magnificent black painted safe box with its mouth open. It even came with a key. "Oh, this restaurant seems to use electricity to cook, so you shouldn't wear metal to prevent electric shock, especially sharp ones." Well then, will we pay here later on the way back? It seems like it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. They took off their glasses. took off their cufflinks, put them in the safe box, and locked them with a key. As they walked, there was another door, and there was a glass jar in front of it. At the door, it said, "Apply all the cream from the jar and put it on your face and limbs." When they looked into the jar, they found milk cream in it. What does it mean to put on the cream? This is because it was cold outside, and he wanted to prevent us from getting a windburn. How thoughtful of him. A very great noble person must be here. We may get acquainted with aristocrats in this mountain. The two young men applied the cream on their faces, on their hands, then took off their socks and put it on their feet. Because they still had some cream left over, they snuck it in their mouth and ate it while pretending to apply it on their faces. Then they rushingly opened the door, and on the back side it said, "Have you applied the cream very well? And applied it on your ears as well?" And there was a small cream jar. Ah, that's right. I forgot to apply it to my ears. I was about to run out of cream. The owner here is a really thoughtful person. Yeah, they're very thoughtful in perfect detail. By the way, I just want to eat something quick. But in the corridor like this, we have no choice. Then there was the next door before that. At the door, it said, "The dishes will arrive shortly. You will not wait for 15 minutes. You can eat it right away. Please sprinkle the perfume from the bottle onto your head very well as soon as possible." And there was a bottle of golden perfume in front of it. The two young men sprinkled perfume on their heads, but it smelled like vinegar. Ooh, this perfume smells like vinegar. What happened? They must have made a mistake. They caught a cold and put it in mistakenly. The two young men opened the door and went inside. On the backside, it was written in large letters as follows. "I apologize for asking for a lot of orders, but that's it. Please sprinkle the salt from the jar and rub it into your body, and then firmly squeeze it in." Certainly, there was a splendid blue settle jar with salt in it. However, this time, they finally both noticed that something was wrong, and they looked at each other's faces with lots of cream on it. This is strange. I think it's funny. A lot of orders, meaning they are asking us for orders. So, in my opinion, a Western restaurant is not a restaurant where people come to eat Western food, but people being cooked as Western food? This means that we are. The tall young man started to shiver and couldn't say anything after that. Meaning we are. Oh, jeez. Oh my goodness. Oh. Even the fat young man started to tremble and couldn't say anything. We better run away. Now, quickly. They tried to open the door where they had entered. However, even though they pushed or pulled, the door did not open. There was another door in the back with two large keyholes and a silver hawk-shaped knife, and it said, "Thank you for your hard work. It's done very well. Please go inside." Two blue eyes are peeking out from the keyhole.
Oh!
The two shouted, trembling.
Oh!
They both started to cry. Then they heard a whisper from inside the door.
No, they have noticed. It means they're not going to rub salt. Well, obviously, the boss's writing was bad. He wrote, "Sorry for asking so many orders, but that's it." And I thought that was a really stupid way to write it. Who cares about that? The boss will not even share the bones with us anyways. That's right. But if they don't come in here, it will be our responsibility. Then why don't you call them in?
Well, let's call them in.
Hey, customers! Hurry up and come! Come! Welcome! We washed the dishes and salted the vegetables very well. We just need to mix the vegetables well with you guys and just put it on a white plate. Come on, quickly! Hey, welcome! Or do you hate salads? In that case, let's start a fire and fry you. Anyways, hurry up and come!
With so much fear, their face was crumpled piece of paper, looking at each other, trembling and crying silently. The voice behind the door said,
Welcome!
"If you cry so much, the cream will come off."
Boss, wait a little longer. I'll take them soon. Come on!
Hurry up! Come on in! The boss has put on a napkin, holding a knife, licking his tongue, and is ready for you because he couldn't wait any longer. The two young men were terrified. They cried and cried and cried and cried. Then suddenly, a growling sound came from the door. The polar bear-looking dog smashed through the door and jumped into the room. The eyeballs in the keyhole disappeared, and the dogs roared around the room, groaning. It barked and jumped at the door. The door slammed open, and the dogs flew away as if they were sucked into the darkness. Then they heard a rattling sound.
Meow!
The room disappeared like smoke, and the two men were cold and shivering, standing in the middle of the woods. Outerwear, shoes, wallets, and tie clips were hanging on the branches, and the other surrounding trees scattered around. A strong wind blew. The grass was noisy, the leaves were bulky, and the trees were rumbling.
Woof, woof. Woof.
The dogs came back, running through the grass. From a distance, Master! They heard the voice of a hunter guide who had been separated from them. The two young men shouted out, Hey, here! Please, help us! The hunter guide wearing a hat came over, rustling through the grass. So they both felt relieved. Then they ate dumplings brought by the hunter and bought a wild bird for 10 yen at the inn and returned to Tokyo. They returned to their home in Tokyo and took a bath. However, their faces, which had turned like crumpled paper, was never recovered ever again.